Great look today. I hope you agree. Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. My name is Anna Marie. Before I get into the video, there is a link in my description box to a GoFundMe to help support Ella and her family, which is expanding whilst they are stuck in Gaza. If you could check that out, I would really appreciate it. Today's video is going to be a autumn TBR video. These are not on my TBR, but they're just so cute. And also, somebody did give me this years ago, but there's no way I'm ever banning it. Like, it's too cute. These are the books that I'd like to get to this autumn. It sort of is also like a winter TBR as well, like autumn to winter. Like if I read some of these in December or January, like that would be fine. It's just a more like autumnal selection. At least, I don't actually know if that's true of their vibe, but these are the choices I'm making for myself. Let's start with Either Or by Elif Batuman, which is the second like the sequel to the novel The Idiot. Yeah, it's about the character Salin, who is at Harvard. The first book I read quite a few years ago and I really enjoyed it. I didn't like give it 5 stars, but I really enjoyed it, and I definitely have been meaning to read this for a few years now. And I feel like autumnal, September, back to school kind of time is a good time for it, because it is about her like return to like for her second year, I believe, at Harvard. And it's really about linguistics a lot, because Salin learns like Russian, and then also she visits like Hungary, I think it is, and she's also Turkish American, and so she experiences a kind of like reflection back of some like Turkish language stuff in Hungary. And so that it has this like really interesting perspective, I think, about linguistics, learning, and the like crossover between like cultures that are supposedly very distinct. Anyway, this isn't the point. This is a TBR. I haven't read this one yet, obviously, but I really enjoyed the first book, and so hopefully I will enjoy this. I might look really good today, but I do not feel good still today, so I hope I can edit this into like a not nightmarish shape. So this is Claudine at School by Colette, translated by Antonia White, and it's the first in like a series of novels that Colette wrote about Claudine and her like coming of age, I think. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this. This has been like on like one of the books I really wanted to get to this year, so I need to read it, so I'm putting it on this TBR. This one is set at school, of course, and then like the rest of the series follows her as she grows up. Next book is The Autobiography of My Mother by Jamaica Kincaid. I loved the Jamaica Kincaid that I read many years ago now, I feel like, maybe like 2020, 2021, which was Lucy, and I've been wanting to return to her work since then. And then a few years ago, like between now and the time I read Lucy, I saw this in a charity shop, I picked it up, and then I just haven't got to it. I think in 2022 is when I got it. So yeah, I am excited to read this. I kind of feel like some of the same kind of themes will be present as with Lucy, especially in terms of like mother-daughter relationships, I would imagine, from the title, and like complicated, fraught mother-daughter relationships. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I also really like how this cover is like sepia tone, but then it has colours coming out in various parts of it. There's something nice about that. Okay, next I'm putting the second novel in this series by Judith Kerr, which is called Out of the Hitler Time. That's the series name. And the book I'm putting on my TBR for autumn is called Bombs on Aunt Daisy, because I read the first book in this series, which is the most famous one, which of course I immediately forget the name of, When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit, and I really enjoyed it. And I've heard that as the series goes on, the books get slightly more for an older audience. So like the first book is definitely a kid's book, but this second one is maybe a little bit more for older readers. I mean, still I think like children, but just like maybe more young adult as opposed to like, yeah, children. Great descriptions there. Anyway, and I'm just really interested in it, and I would like to keep going with this series. So yeah, that's Bombs on Aunt Daisy. Okay, I have 2 books, but really on this TBR there's just one of them, but I can't decide which one I want to pick up. But the kind of prompt for it is a book from the 1920s, because I'd like to keep doing some reading of that. So the 2 options I have for it, but like I said, I'm only expecting myself to read one of these, is Latchkey Ladies by Marjorie Grant and Dangerous Ages by Rose Macaulay. I think these were both published in the same year. I think this is 1921, but I could be wrong. This is a Canadian author, I think, and it's about a bunch of women who, after the First World War, have more sort of freedoms than they did before, and kind of them like living in an independent way, which they hadn't done before, I think is what it's about. Maybe like 4 women, 4, yes. So yeah, seems really interesting to me. And then the other one is Dangerous Ages by Rose Macaulay, like I said, and this one is by the author of a book I already read this year from the 1920s, which was Potterism, which ended up being really intriguing to me. So and I had actually already, like, this was already on my shelves before I got to Potterism, so it would be great to read this. And I think this is about 3 women who are all related, and they're all at various points in their life. So like their mother is turning 63, and Neville is celebrating her 43rd birthday, and then Nan is celebrating her 33rd birthday, and 33 is apparently a dangerous age. And yeah, it's just like a look at these women's lives in the early 1920s, I think. Right now I really cannot decide which one of these I'm gonna like pick up, which is why I just couldn't decide and decided to put them both here as one. Part of me would really like to just keep reading the Rose Macaulay, because obviously I really, yeah, like I said, I was intrigued by her other book, but I also really am interested in this book, and I have been for a while, but I only picked it up this year, so it would be nice to read also. But yeah, we'll see. So the 6th or so book on this TBR is An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. I've had this on my bookshelf for a really long time, and I've tried to sort of read it at multiple points, and I think like it's time to like have another go and do, because I also would really like to read more of River Solomon's work. I've only read The Deep, but Sorrowland is that what it's called? And I have actually read another short story, but like I really want to read Sorrowland and stuff, but I obviously have this. I've heard really great things about it, and also that it's very like intense and difficult too. But yeah, I would really, really like to get it. It's like set on a spaceship, and I think the main character is like a doctor, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this, even if I think it also will probably be quite difficult for me to read. The next is a book that somebody lent me, so I need to read it. And that's Bunny by Mona Awad, and I actually think maybe like a sequel to this has come out recently called like More Bunny or something, which surprised me because I didn't think that was like the vibe of this. But I think this is also kind of a bit like dark academia, like autumnal, like with either or, although I don't know that that really counts as dark academia, but it's like academia, or like about the experience of scholars. I mean, so this I think is set in it's about like a scholarship student who's in a like graduate, so I guess that means like postgraduate fiction writing cohort at New England's elite Warren University, and they all call, like all the girls in it call each other Bunny. Like I guess if I don't enjoy it that much at the beginning, I might like not read it and just return it, but we'll see. I think it has potential. I think I probably won't talk about like books that are going to be on my Victober TBR, so there was one I was going to show up, but I've just decided actually I think it's better to just like show them all during like the TBR video I make, / if I do read them during October, and obviously if I read them after that too. But yeah, the one book on this TBR that I don't have a physical copy of is The Revolution According to Raimundo Matter by Gina Apostol, because I really, really want to read another book by her, because I loved the book I read of hers 2 years ago now, which was Insurrecto, and this one is the book I've chosen to be the next one for me to read. But yeah, I don't have a copy, and so I'm definitely gonna buy one to read it. So that's also on my autumn TBR. I guess I have like an ambivalent inclusion on my TBR. I'm just not really sure if I will be in the mood for this, but if I am, that would be nice. That's The Free People's Village by Sim Kern, which is like a YA novel and is like an alternative timeline 2020, and I think it's like about a punk band, and I think it has a lot of themes around like climate change and like eco-justice, and yeah, I think it looks really great, and I don't know if it's like the vibe I'm looking for right now, but I would really like to read it, so it is going to be on my autumn TBR. And lastly, a book that I'm sort of shadowing a module to gain some experience in terms of like teaching. So one of the books one of the texts on that module is the first 2 books of Paradise Lost. I'd like to read the whole of it. I think I have read the first 2 books already for my A-levels, which was like 11 years ago. Yeah, but I mean that was a long time ago. I probably can't remember very much anyway, and I have been wanting to read / reread Paradise Lost for a really long time actually. Like in the past few years I've just been like, oh, I really want to read that. So I thought that I'm definitely going to try to like shadow that class specifically and like read it before then. I think the class is maybe November. So yeah, but that's sort of on my autumn TBR, but it's also like a different kind of reading because it is much more like PhD related, which this is not PhD related reading. I don't know how much of these I'll get to. If I don't get to that many, that's okay, but I am really looking forward to trying to read some of these for sure. You know, I think like I've definitely gotten to a place where I'm much better at like following through on some of my plans, even if I'm never completing my TBRs like 100%, but that's okay. It's like quite fun to put together like a list of books that you're like inspired or excited to read, even if because of like the constraints of time or life or just like your own inclinations change, you don't read all of the list. But I feel like I'm reading like at least half of the seasonal TBRs that I make at this point, and I'm happy with that. That's nice, especially because everything's so hard a lot of the time. Yes, okay, let me know if you have read any of these, if there's ones you really think I should definitely try to prioritize, and also what you're looking forward to reading during autumn. Yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day when you're watching this, and I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Is that what I say? I think that's what I say. Bye!